Yeah, no, I'm when I'm like in tip top shape, I'm like 225, 235. So like I'd be an ultra heavy like in any division anywhere. So like I could get if I was gonna fight like a heavyweight legend, they'd put me up against like a Fedor or a Frank Mir or somebody.
Shit.
Be in trouble.
Butterbean.
He was have you seen that team fighting shit? The one where it's a ring, but it's a rectangle and it's a long rectangle. Have you seen that, dude?
Yes, they're crazy. I mean, it's awesome, but yeah, they're crazy.
I could go off on a tangent forever about that, but you know me, I'm gonna shut up while I'm ahead. Or you are the man. I've been excited for this, and I see you've been promoting it all day, so this shit's about to blow up, son.
Absolutely.
All right.
I have to do a little bit of monitoring the troll box. I've been saying like, hey, let's do some Q&A. So I'll have to keep an eye on the troll box and see what we can nail down over there. Get all my stuff set up. Hey, you guys have been sounding good, by the way. I've been tuning in and out all day. I listened to River for a little bit this morning. I was not up early enough to listen to TK.
I know, I missed that one too. I missed TK and River and Josh and Manifestable too. I got back up about Daz K2 time, which was pretty lit, by the way. For anybody that didn't catch Daz's little DJ session, it was dope.
I was paying attention. I've had it in the background, like I've had it in like one ear for like half the day.
Sweet,
so
man.
Not always super engaged, but paying as much attention as possible. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm chilling. I am chilling. It's been great.
Awesome.
Kind of low stress around here, you know? I mean, we're just chilling.
Gotta keep it real on a 24-hour stream, man.
Dude, I know, man. I know. Yeah, I'm really just getting started. Again, I had myself a pretty gnarly nap earlier, so I'm up and ready to go. I'll be here for the rest of the night. I'm getting my warm-ups on for the little drumming I'm gonna do here in a little bit. So.
Sounds good.
Yeah, man.
Good times.
Oh yeah.
So is everybody paying attention to the BTC Halvening? Did everybody watch the fireworks?
We did, yeah. We kept people updated a little bit. We gave out a little bit of money for the people that, for Chief Naples, who predicted the price the most accurately.
I saw that.
Yeah, so we were checking out the hash rates and checking out the big old candle going on right now in BSV. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, kicking ass. On the hash rate on BSV has about doubled or a little more than doubled in the last hour.
That's unbelievable.
And the first block after the halvening on BTC took about 40 minutes to mine, so the drop in hash power had an immediate effect there too. So I expect to see quite a bit of that actually for the next probably 10 days would be my guess.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Oh, and interesting. Now I'm looking at coin.dance, and while it is 43% more profitable to mine on BSV, it is still about 4% more profitable to mine on BTC versus BCH. So for some reason, BCH is not so profitable to mine.
Wow.
Which I find a little surprising.
That's
actually
odd. I didn't expect it to be behind BTC right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I would have expected BCH to be in a similar place to BSV.
Yeah, me too.
I have to do a little bit of research on that, actually.
I'm not sure why that happened. You know, and it could have just been like, you know, BSV would have been just a little bit ahead and everybody went there. I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I think
BSV.
Josh in the chat here too. I wonder if Josh is. Are you able to connect and communicate, Josh?
Yeah, he popped his head in for a second. I saw that pretty mug of his.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Cool. All right, making sure you're all set.
A cool comment in the chat. Rhythmic Eye says BSV just achieved 156 transactions per second.
Nice.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's huge. There's been a big spike today out of China. There's a couple people doing some stress testing, and I think they're related in some regard to the is it Toshal, I think is how it's pronounced, the Toshal app. Some kind of I don't know, Chinese Twitch competitor and or like Tinder competitor a little bit. I think I've seen, and some other stuff too. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what that's all about. But if they're going to push 50,000 transactions a day to the chain, I guess I can keep my criticisms to myself.
No doubt, man. Comes from China. Comes from China.
Chinese Tinder, it's tremendous. It's wonderful.
Coin Alchemist says it's me spamming the chain with magic numbers. Pow, pow.
Nice. Attaboy.
Yeah, that's it. Speaking of the devil, I think he may have just walked up in here to crash our party.
I did, yeah. I see the Alchemist waifu something, or I don't know my anime characters that well. What?
The waifu, I like that.
I think it's totally like a sexist. Like waifu is definitely a chick. In the anime. So
yeah, I think it's kind of the same. It's like wifey, right? In that sort of the general
roughly
idea there.
It's a little weirder than that, but I don't remember the details.
Maybe a little more offensive.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not sure either. That's cool though. What's up, Degan? Thanks for hanging out, man.
So who else we got on here? Who's customized?
You don't know who Customized is?
Maybe not by screen name. I feel like I know everybody, and if I
Customized is the badass Belgian artist who won our art contest. Yeah, he builds epic costumes. He's actually there with another guy that he auctioned off his Optimus Prime costume on Twitch, and the dude actually drove to him to pick it up. So you're looking at two Twitchers right there.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
Who are meeting up to do a little transaction of their own. Pretty awesome.
Good time. Little peer-to-peer in the flesh, huh?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Friend to friend.
Right?
I like it.
I definitely paid him peer-to-peer.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. Yeah, and cool. He's been hanging out. They've been drinking some fine Belgian beer, and he's been actually customizing his costume to fit dude on the air here today. So it's been pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah, nothing like the power of the internet, huh?
No kidding, man. Unbelievable. Kind of makes you realize what a small world too. You know, like how do two people meet on Twitch and then actually you see them in the same camera? Like how does that happen?
It's true.
It's unbelievable.
It's wild. No, we got a good crew in Chicago. There's like 6 or 7 guys that I see pretty regularly that are on Twitch and have been big blockers for a long time, and they're just kind of like in my general friend circle. So for me, the real life twitching happens a couple times a month usually.
I'm sorry I left you, Kurt.
Yeah, man, go create an empire in Ohio or whatever.
Taking over the world.
It's all right. But yeah, no, it's funny too, actually. Like when I think about all the American BSV people, like almost all of them are like Midwesterners, and I'm shocked how many people are even like Chicago suburbs guys, even if they were on the Indiana side. Like, Josh Petty and a bunch of his friends are all like Indiana, like they're eastern Chicago suburbs. So there's
Missouri.
Kind of there's Missouri. There's a bunch of guys in like Ohio, Indiana. Actually, I got kind of a big group of friends in like Michigan and Wisconsin too. So it's like the Great Lakes region BSV community.
Gang, gang.
I feel like most of the Twitch boys are from Indiana, or like
a good chunk of them are. Yeah.
Yeah. Billy said that Elon has a thing for Indiana boys, so he likes to work with them.
Sounds about right. And then Billy's a New Yorker, so he's our East Coast representative.
Yep.
So, and then Josh, I know you were talking about changing coasts again. Have you done that already?
At the end of this month.
Okay.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
So does that mean you're coming back from California or going to California?
To Atlanta.
Oh, sweet. ATL in the house. I like that.
Space Ghost, coast to coast.
Yeah, man. I like Atlanta now. Atlanta's a cool place.
It's a big city, man.
It is a
And I
big
remember
city.
the first time I ever went to Atlanta, and just think, because like I'm from a big city, and I'm like, man, you know, I know New York and LA are big, but Atlanta's got to be, you know, smaller and stuff. I don't know what I was thinking in my head, but the first time I went to Atlanta, I was like, God, this place is huge, and like hilly, like it's actually a really beautiful city too.
Yeah.
So
Georgia, man.
it's a good time.
Georgia's nice.
Yeah. That's where the headquarters for Alliance Jiu-Jitsu is. So when we're not in lockdown, I'm usually there like two or three times a year for like seminars or training or big tournaments or whatever. So it's where the savages convene. You'll get like 200 like serious competitors in a room that, you know, from everywhere. They're from Europe and South America and all over the U.S. and they're all like in Dunwoody, Georgia. So
Yeah. So we actually, the fiance and I, we drove down to Orlando, Florida, about a couple months ago now. But on our way down, we stopped in Savannah, Georgia, and that was a really beautiful place too. Very historic.
It is.
And, it was
yeah,
awesome.
it's really unique.
Yeah, it's super weird. You know, we had never been there, and you know, it's one of my kind of bucket list towns. I was like, I gotta go check that place out. It's crazy, man. Like you kind of cross this big bridge, and as you're coming on the other side of the bridge, you see just the whole city below you. It's a really unique thing. It's weird.
Yeah. Got it. And it's like going through a time machine. It's
Totally.
Everything's so old school there.
Yeah, everything's super old. They had like horses and chariots like driving around this carriages rather, giving tours and stuff. It was crazy, man.
Good times.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, I like Savannah. I haven't been there in a long time. I went there as like I don't know, I was probably 12. I went out there for a wedding. But I've been to Atlanta a bunch, but Savannah, it was funny. My wife and I were talking about Savannah. We want to find a second place to call home. Like I spent 34 years in Chicago now, and I'm looking at, well, there's a reason Illinois is the #1 state to leave in the union. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's highest cost of living and a bunch of other stuff.
Murder rate.
So, murder, yeah, no, we got the murder thing figured out real good.
Yeah,
So.
you do. You sure do.
Got the recreational though.
Yeah, recreational murder.
Oh, marijuana. Oh.
Yeah, no, that's true. We just got
definitely got the murder,
I don't
though,
smoke
for
though.
sure.
Like I'm not opposed to smoking. Like I don't care what anybody does, but like for me, man, every time somebody like talks me into it, it is like the worst thing that I've ever done.
Anxiety bomb goes
Even
off.
you think after a workout that'd be what you need, or maybe a hot dog.
I've tried all kinds. I've tried trust me.
Exactly. Exactly.
Don't fall for it.
It's funny because it's like I shut in. Like I get lost in my own head, and then everybody's like, "Man, what happened to Kurt? He's usually like pretty upbeat. Like he seems really depressed or something." And I'm like, and I can't process it either. So I'm just like,
Maybe that's what's wrong with me.
That's it.
Because I'm just always in my head. Like,
yeah. So I don't know.
man, you just
I'm better
diagnosed me,
sober.
man.
I feel like
Thank you.
I feel like in theory I could hit like, you know, the micro dose or like a little bit edible. Like same thing as about, you know, I've had beer or two, you know. And
Or
like,
what is it? It's just the CBD that like takes the edge off the pain
Yeah,
away.
something like
and
that.
Not so much of the psychedelic part of it.
right. Yeah, I feel like that's a plausible solution for me, but I'm sick of experimenting. I really have no motivation at this point to see where my limits are.
All right, guys. Well, you guys, you know, you guys have the control of the box for the next hour and 45 minutes. So I'm just
Yes.
gonna get out of your way, man, and
Yeah, I'm
y'all
gonna
do
back
you.
it out of here.
Same,
I
man.
like it. Yeah,
So,
let's hit the
Thank you for joining us.
for sure.
Absolutely.
No, it's a pleasure. I really appreciate you guys giving the invite and you know,
I know
excited
the
to be
last
here.
time
And-
Josh was here, everything screwed up. Gage slept through it. I got booted off the internet. So let's round two. Let's hope for a better one.
Exactly.
It can be sketchy, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and thanks to Josh, you know, I just pitched. I was looking for anybody to hop on and do a little co-hosting and whatever. And Josh was
You got
like,
a good one.
3 seconds later, like, yes, I get Henslee on the live stream. Good
Yes.
time. So.
Score.
Yep. So
All right,
it's
we'll
all,
get her
it's all
done,
gonna
guys.
work out. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a peek at this troll box here. Stress test. Does anyone have the stress test screen up? Yeah, we could share the Savannah's beautiful. Yeah, let me see if I can figure out how to do some. I haven't streamed from Discord ever. So could be
It's not so bad. I'll actually it's cool because it'll pop another box up so it won't kill your face.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it works pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, let's see if I can do a little screen share here. Entire screen application window. Let's do this one and share. I think.
It's cool.
Yeah, gosh, we're chugging away like 50 something transactions a second right now on chain. Application share, and then it just disappears.
Trying to share your screen.
Yeah, I was trying to share my screen. I wanted to show the Bitcoin blocks live, showing the rapid fire transactions, but it looks like it's going to do it, and then it just doesn't happen. Let's try it this way. I think that did
See a
it.
second thing pop up.
There we go. Okay, cool. What does it say? Your stream currently has reduced video or audio quality due to network conditions. Oh, that's no good.
It looks okay though. You're fine.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, cool.
Good on my end.
So, Josh, do you know anything about? I think it was Aaron, but I don't know him. I saw him post in, I think it was Unwriter's Slack, like, "Hey, incoming transactions," and all of a sudden this machine gun started, and it's been going for like most of the day here. But do you have any other insights on what his thought processes are, or what else he's?
Oh, I mean, it looks like they're just trying to get a big block or something, but I mean, I guess they're doing something where you send some money to an address and then that funds lots of transactions.
Sure. I mean, which
Funny
is
thing is causing lots of problems right now, which I guess is good.
well, what's going on? What are you seeing? I haven't seen any.
Oh, I mean, it's nothing public, but like people using the nodes or like, full nodes, they're just wrecked right now.
Oh, okay.
They can't handle 500,000 in the mempool.
Oh, okay, sure. So people's probably a RAM limitation, I'm guessing,
That are just
making them crash.
crappy like machines that are like worse than some folks' laptops.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. If nothing breaks, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that's interesting. Actually, speaking of which, I saw you talking, and I read your piece. I want to say it was maybe 10 days ago, where you're talking about moving BSV to the old difficulty adjustment.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's, I mean, in the long term, obviously I agree, but I was surprised to see that you like the idea of moving to it ASAP. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, for anybody that hasn't read it or hasn't heard you talk about it, can you explain your thinking on all of that? Because that sounds like a bad idea to me. I'm willing to be proven wrong here, but let's hear your thoughts on it.
So my argument is that there's no plan that could ever be justified to go back to it, right? Because any plan would say, oh, it's going to be some person, some human saying, okay, we need 5% of the hash rate and we need X amount of transactions. And it's just like that's central planning. Like there's no way around that, right?
All right.
So like, to me, it's just do it, right? I mean, that's the thing, because the alternative is someone's going to make that plan, and then everyone's going to be looking to this high priest to say, "Hey, this now we can go back." No, it just needs to happen. But I mean, I think what'll happen in the end is just miners will just do it whenever they feel like it's best. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully it's not in-chain telling them, "Hey, here you go." That wouldn't be good. But
Right, here's from down on high. Here's Steve Shatters' PGP signature.
Yeah.
Go merge this, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. But I think, I mean, I feel like there's got to be some other like a cultural threshold or something. Like, to me, I feel like it's got to be somewhere around the 50% like transactions and or profitability or so there's got to be a mix of things that put BSV roughly at parity with BTC for us to do that. We're, obviously we get orphaned by F2 Pool or Slush or somebody who says, you know what, here's our opportunity to jam it up their ass, and then we got real problems, right?
Well, I mean, they're so passive. Like that, these miners aren't gonna do shit. I mean, they don't even mind what's out there, right? I mean, they're mining.
fair.
We're told SV scales. Well, our blocks are smaller than BTC's.
Sure. Yeah, on average, sure. We're seeing a lot of slightly under 1 megabyte blocks. I guess that's fair.
So I just like the miners are all, I mean, the subsidy just cut in half, but they're so passive. Like they don't do anything.
Right. Yeah, I've always kind of wondered that. Like I was in the mining space when it was really unprofessional. Like we're talking 2013. Like I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, yeah, this is, I'm gonna print some money basically. And so, I wonder today, like if you were to go somewhere like, wherever CoinGeek or Tal or some of these other big pools, like, what is Ant Pool? Like, what are they doing on a daily basis? Like, is there a team of people watching the mem pool and all of that stuff? Like, is it their full-time job to kind of monitor? Does anybody have any insight? I feel like everybody plays everything so close to the vest, we don't know what's actually going on.
Yeah, I don't really.
They're processing transactions, okay, Kurt? They're not mining anymore.
Got it.
Yeah, and process transactions. That's working out great.
Well, it's funny, I've not seen a big block full of transactions from any of these transaction miners or transaction processors.
It's just simple. And someone
Lynn Zemming seems like the only transaction processor in existence. So
yeah,
we got 7 billion people on Earth. There's one dude in China who's doing anything. Sitting there, he's probably the only guy. He's the only actual guy sitting and monitoring the mempool and adjusting node settings.
Yeah.
Oh man. It's incredible. Well, I mean, what do we got to do? So some people, I haven't even looked actually. I've been too busy, but a bunch of people are saying these transactions, like this giant flow, this machine gun that we've had playing for about 5 minutes now on video, is that they're all too low. That they're like 0.1 sat per byte or something absurdly low, and they're trying to see if somebody will swallow them up as an aggregate. Is that? Can anybody confirm that?
The lowest I saw yesterday was 0.249, which would be just below what the standard minimum was. But if they were too low, they wouldn't be relayed. So unless some of these like Blockchair and What's on Chain. I mean, I know What's on Chain doesn't have theirs configured so low because sometimes stuff doesn't show up in theirs. Maybe they fixed that. But if they were too low, they wouldn't be relayed, so we wouldn't even be seeing them on the different sites.
Fascinating.
But I think most miners probably just have 0.5 set.
Yeah, it seems, and if you were leaving it on cruise control, I guess that makes sense, right?
I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. They're just getting the subsidy. They're like the family waiting for the welfare check.
Right. Standing in the driveway,
store, buy the Kool-Aid, buy the hot Cheetos and shit. Yeah, and then they wait for that one. That's how they act, man. The only one that doesn't act like that is Zemming. That's it.
Right.
So that's
the only capitalist on Earth.
I hope the price fucking goes down like 4 times. Because then all these miners will just go bankrupt, right? I mean, that's the point.
Yeah.
That's why he put it in.
Sure.
And so when the price just dips, then all of them go bankrupt. They have to sell their ASIC to someone who actually is going to take control of this shit and put transactions into a block.
Right. Yeah, it'll just be Lynn. Lynn will be the only guy mining Bitcoin on Earth. Well, that's I guess that's Satoshi's vision, right?
Yeah.
Lynn Zemming, the node.
Lynn and Matterpool.
Right. Yeah, and Matterpool. Are they? You know, I haven't even noticed. Have they mined a block? Are they running their own nodes or?
I don't know if they have or not.
Yeah, I haven't. You know, again, I'm not. You know, as I'm criticizing transaction processors for not sitting and monitoring the screens at all times, I'm also not doing that much research. So they might be mining a block a week or something. I just haven't noticed.
Well, I think they would have been loud as hell on Twitch and Twitter if they mined a block.
You know what? I think they're the quiet conservative types over there, honestly. Oh, it looks like we're getting some good feedback in the troll box here. We got Daniel saying, hey, got Degan talking, Astronomy Dork, TK. Andres telling me I'm the COVID-19 just an excuse for me to not go get my brown belt. Friggin' guy. All right, let's see. Astronomy Dork saying he did not just reference hot Cheetos. This is why I like having my black friends, man. I can sit back. You can tell welfare jokes for a few minutes. I'll just come back. Craywood saying that's not true. At Matterpool, we're building a system that will be very competitive.
Yeah,
All right, let's demand mine a block, Daniel. I'm looking forward to it. Somebody's got to give Lynn Zemming some competition, right?
Yep, exactly.
If somebody else mines like a 60 or 70 megabyte block, Lynn Zemming will mine a 128 megabyte block in a day. So let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Man, so what do you think with this Gatling gun situation? You think he's just got to is there I think Brad Jasper had an app or something he built that was supposed to do some kind of Gatling gun function.
I was just talking about it in Inkling. Well, I just mentioned it in Inklings, and that's what like the Pow Pow reference was in the troll box chat. It's called Pow Pow, and then he also has Pew. There's also Pew Pew. So you can take your choice on which one you want to use, but he does have two tools. And yeah, I've been firing off some just for fun.
Oh, okay, cool. What do you gotta do to set that up? Do you need your own? Do you need a full node or?
No, just you can go. They're open source on his GitHub. You can go there and hold on.
Just stream the Inklings chat and blow everyone's minds. Charge a fee. I got David Case saying howdy, folks. Gage Drums. Daniel Krawitt saying it's random. We'll get a block when we're good and ready. This happened during the BSV Halvening 2. Took forever on the last block. Pew, 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 pew. Nope, money button works. Such a savage response by the Emperor. Yeah, I remember on Bitcoin Blocks Live, there was the Gatling tool. He keeps putting it up and taking it down. It keeps changing every time it disappears and reappears too. It used to just blow a bunch of UTXOs into your own money button and break your money button every time you'd use it. and then he turned it into donation, which I think was smarter, but now it disappeared again. You can't get the normies doing Gatling gun shots by themselves. Yeah, that's wild though. It's a lot of small transactions. About 71,000 or just a little over 71,000 in the mempool.
Right now?
Yeah. In the BSV mempool. I don't know what the BTC one's doing.
It was 600K yesterday at some point.
Crazy. Yeah, let's see how the BTC mempool is doing. Because I have a feeling things are going to get weird, actually.
Sorry, my little guy was pulling me away. I was like, Dad, it says it's downloading. What does that mean? Do I exit?
It's awesome. My kid's screaming in the background, like grandma's over, so he just like hits the high note and screams at her for 3 hours in between naps. It's making me deaf. Oh, yeah.
How old is your little one going?
What's that?
One is almost 5 and the other one is almost 13.
Nice. BTC mempool's not, nothing. I mean, it's spiked up, but it's not even the highest it's been in 30 days right now. So I guess we'll wait and see ongoing how many transactions spill in and what happens. Any predictions? Anybody have any wild? I mean, Calvin keeps 10 tweets a day talking about this is it. This is the beginning of the bloodbath, and
then tomorrow he'll be saying the same thing that that OKX exchange girl was saying, and Soul that we'll just all be friends.
Yeah.
And just alternate between days. Oh, BTC be around for a long time. Oh, next day we're gonna kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that 7-dimensional chess right there.
So one thing I was thinking about is, I mean, I've always, I was shitting on miners earlier, but if you wanted to show off a big block, this would be what to do, right? It's just mine, 300K transaction blocks and then just let it build up. They did that. They actually did do that during the hash war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember.
They let the block get super big and then they just showed off like a 64 meg block or whatever.
Right.
So, I mean, that's possible. But again, we're talking about I don't have much faith in them being that smart.
Sure. Well, I'm always curious, it's funny because a lot of people talk about all this, like you get the people that are clearly just fans. These are the BSV cartoon characters on Twitter and stuff that just kind of retweet each other and talk about, they're all maybe insiders. They all see the brilliance and and I look at it as somebody who's genuine. I mean, I know that I've shaken hands with all of these people, all the people that they're fanboying over. Like, I've shared a dance floor with them at this point. So, it's, whatever. But I always wonder, I'm like, how deep does this, business plan go? Have they been executing something for 5 years now? Or is this like, they're all just winging it and hoping they win somehow, because, I've been involved in a lot of big businesses, and sometimes the ones that look like they got it all figured out are sitting in the boardroom every day going, oh man, does somebody have an idea? Or so, but
I think they've run out of, it's like Boy Who Cried Wolf, right?
I hate to agree with that, but when I see like Craig specifically, I've known guys that are like Craig in the sense that like they're very strong in what they believe, like they have very strong opinions, and the opinion is based on a wealth of knowledge that they have, and they're sick of all the jackals, just being shitty, and then you fire off and be like, what I could do to you?
Yeah, that's it.
And it's like, and he's not wrong.
Yeah,
like,
it's what boomers do.
Well, and it sucks because it's like technically like all of Craig's threats like they're all plausible. Like there are ways that they all could go down and whatever, but like when you're fighting, like it ignores just how much guile exists in the other camps and with the other miners and all the other, the business interests. And we're talking about, if somebody like Blockstream's got like a dozen different venture capitalist groups, that have their own weird networks of sock puppets and subterfuge they can pull out too. So like, like talk less and nuke somebody. I'd like to wake up one morning to like, ooh, they didn't even say anything about it, and they were holding an ace, and they did whatever. But just thinking back, I just wrote that history of Bitcoin part 2 just published. But man, doing the research and looking at like some of the crazy shit that the small blockers were pulling in like 2014 and 15. Like those guys, man. I mean, they were DDoSing whole towns. Like they were taking down ISPs in whole regions of the country to make sure that XT nodes couldn't find a peer and that kind of thing. Like they were not screwing around. So, it's like these kind of things are obviously that's illegal, but if we're actually fighting a war for Bitcoin, sometimes the law. You can stretch a little bit, right?
Well, I think part of it is, when we were growing up, the kid who always hits back is the one that gets his ass beat. So I think that's the fear that they have, right? It's
sure.
Like, yeah, they did all this shit, but in the end, if they're the ones that retaliate, they're the ones that are going to be looked at as the bad guys.
Well, exactly. Well, and it'd be so much more obvious if it was a big blocker,
especially if it's from an altcoin SV.
Exactly.
SV. And
my dad was my stepdad was never one who was really into violence, but when I was younger, I was more of an aggressive little kid, and when you're always the one that is fighting back and not the one starting the fight, and that happens, Josh, he finally was like, listen. If you're going to get in trouble regardless, like just hit them so hard that they never mess with you again, rather than like trying to defend yourself or run to go find someone because you're in school. Like you're going to get suspended anyway. So it doesn't make it worth it. And from that day forward, like I just made sure that if anyone ever started anything, I'm like, I'm going to get in trouble anyway. So I might as well make it worth it.
Right. There's a question here in the box, Rhythmic Eye, saying, guys, can you explain your objections to the miners and why they choose not to mine blocks instead of competing? I don't know that I exactly understand the question, but I think my interpretation is, why are they, I guess he meant transactions. Choose not to mine transactions. Well, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, right now, what's BSV right now? About $200. We're gonna do a little napkin math here. 185. So we got $185 times 6.25 BSV every 10 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm. Sanjay Vision.
Right, on Sanjay Vision. So that is about let's just call it $1,150 every 10 minutes if you're just mining blocks, right? So if let's just say I'm Kurt Pool and I'm mining BSV exclusively. If I mine a block, I get about $1,150 in revenue. So that doesn't include my cost, my power, my overhead, employees, whatever else. But if you look at some of these blocks, I looked yesterday, the blocks that Mempool mined, Zemming mined, I think there were 68 megabyte blocks, and they contained about $40, a little less than $40 each in fees. So for mining those blocks, which, big blocks, they were $40 worth of fees. And that's cool because, he holds the record, I guess Unknown Miner does for his 90 megabyte block. But he made $80 across two big blocks. And those big blocks take a little bit of extra work to build out too, because they're full of lots of little payments. And it's more profitable to just sit on cruise control and collect that $1,150 every 10 minutes, right? Yeah. Or you get it at the Coinbase is it 100 blocks? I forget now. How often is a Coinbase transaction? Is it 100 blocks?
It's in every block.
Oh, okay. So when you get paid out, the subsidy. The subsidy. It's like Josh was saying 20 minutes ago. You can sit at the end of the driveway with your grape drink and wait for the mailman to come bring the welfare check, and that's unfortunately the profitable play if you don't have a better job opportunity, like then the best plan is to like lower costs and sit and chill and wait for that check to show up. So that's that, unfortunately is the most profitable business model right now. Now that changes somewhere between 1 and 2 gigabyte blocks, but that, at least I think off the top of my head, the math is something. It was like a gig and a quarter or something like that. But your average has to outstrip the block reward. But that's how far away are we from gigabyte blocks on the average? Because when that's the case, problem solved. Everybody wants to be mining BSV at that point, but it's a lot more than one weird Chinese Tinder app blasting transactions to the mempool for fun. So get out there. Basically, and that's the challenge is like it's an ecosystem. The transaction processing economy makes sense. Asterisk, right? So one of those asterisks is the people in the troll box not spending all their time on Twitter and actually pushing data to the chain that people want to like interact with and pay for and resell and all of that. So get building, and then all of a sudden you'll start seeing more and more pools. Like, hey, gigabyte block for me.
It's easier to ask why didn't Craig pump their bags last year?
Well, right. Let's let's look back at the Kleiman case. Let's focus on whatever. And we've been saying that the Inklings crew has been saying this stuff for a good long time now. Like Craig doesn't owe anybody anything. Maybe this all goes sideways. Like this is my major opposition to fanboy culture. Like I've been saying for a long time, I like Craig. I like a lot of what he says. I agree with him about Bitcoin in general. However, it is not Craig's job to do anything that makes you richer. So, you get out there, build what you want to see. And, that starts encouraging other people to come compete with you. That's what makes your bags grow. So let's see. Got a bunch more questions here. Astronomy Dork saying N-Chain has a patent that fights DDoS attacks. I believe it. Dookie Love saying some blockchains cooperate instead of competing over blocks. That's true.
N-Chain can't compete with Friendchain though.
We got to show them that too, man. We do a lot of bullshit talking on our end too. Let's see. Jackson Lasky, what's up, bro? Saying IMO fees will go up before blocks get way bigger. We don't have enough transactions with any urgency. Absolutely. Rhythmic Eye, great explanation. Thanks, guys. No problem. Thanks for asking. Who else has Bitcoin questions? We're happy to answer them.
I don't think fees will go up on BSV.
Yeah, they seem to actually go down with volume as a rule.
If I can broadcast at 0.3, why would I go any higher?
Right.
Like, that's just me. Maybe other people will, but there's not too many dependencies on being in the next block. So unless whatever you're doing requires that, there's no reason to pay a higher fee.
Sure. To Rhythmic Eye, he's saying, so is the BSV model achievable long-term in your opinion? If we didn't think so, we'd be pretty silly wasting our time doing live streams and how dumb do I look, man? I think long term, we're talking about data, right? Like, is data valuable? I think that's the first question. If you ask that question to Jack Dorsey or Mark Zuckerberg down at Satan Summer Camp, they'll tell you that data is the most valuable thing in the universe.
No, they'll tell you no, and then they'll sell your data.
Right. Yeah, I think what Josh Petty said, something like 99% of Facebook's revenue is ad revenue. Was it 90 or 99? And we're talking about a multi-billion, like one of the biggest companies in the world, and all of their money is your data being sold to marketing. So that's the first question. Like, is data valuable? I think the obvious question is yes. So the next question is can we put data on chain in a way that is resellable, remarketable, and in a way that competes with centralized sources? Like, I think Twetch is awesome, but if the rest of the world cannot be convinced that it is, then then that's a losing battle. Same thing with, using BSV as a backbone as opposed to AWS or Microsoft Azure for your cloud deployment stuff. Like, BSV is essentially, or it's a big building block anyways of a cloud computing platform. So if you can monetize your data in such a way where you're, prepaying for a century of storage and repurposing of stuff that you can put on chain, then absolutely. But if the tools never get easier, if they don't get secure enough, if we're relying on the backbone of, some of these people who aren't connecting directly to the chain, we're talking about building really weird, duct tape together kind of systems, and that's not great either. But I think conceptually the utopia version of BSV, like, absolutely can work at scale, but everybody's got to be brave enough to take that step, right? When we've had this peer-to-peer debate a little bit between some of the major wallet providers, and we're going peer to AWS server to Azure server to peer to node to
S3 to
blockchain. Right, and that's
instead of just friend to friend.
Right, we could be passing these IP transactions. Writing down hashes and snail mailing them and doing real peer-to-peer. So, but it's complicated. It's not that easy. Like, every question is okay, why are we deploying this like this? Well, it's easier to deploy because there's not somebody that is like, there's like a dozen people that even understand what Bitcoin script is capable of. So who do you hire to build this thing? It's big opportunities, but people take the path of least resistance, which again is why it's so easy to eat your Cheetos and wait for the welfare check to show up. So it's and that's what everybody's doing, and it's hard to blame them when that's the it's like this generational what do they call it, generational welfare culture, right? Like, well, daddy was on welfare and grandma was on welfare too, and what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go start a computer company or something, like, why? I got grilled cheese coming in 20 minutes. So let's see, more questions. Rhythmic Eye, yeah, too many people sitting idle. Degan saying, spend your bags on production stock so you're in control of whether you make money or not. Daniel says, yeah, fees go down, fee decreases as BSV scales, but demand goes up faster than block space. Well, we don't have a block space issue, or at least we don't know if we have a block space issue. Jackson Lasky, demand for block space is the incentive for blocks to grow. We're not really even a big blockchain until we start seeing gigabyte blocks. So, at some point, I think we can be, but it's yet to be proven on mainnet. These testnet numbers look great, but I don't. A lot of cool stuff happens on testnet, and then. As someone who goes to the Chicago Auto Show or generally goes every year, there's a lot of really cool ideas that never see the real road. And so
I guess that's the thing that I was frustrated at. It's all these people shilling the huge blocks on testnet. Meanwhile, I look at the mainnet and I see 700 kilobytes at the mempool, 500,000 transactions. Oh yeah, BSV scales.
Yep. Yeah, make it happen, guys. I really don't want to have to build a mining pool, make a point. So let's see. 98% of Facebook is, and 85% of Google is ad revenue. So yeah, huge money in reselling your data. Jackson says, less talk, more sales. That's actually true. Like, if I were to segue to a criticism away from miners, which may or may not be merited. If there's not big piles of stuff to mine, it's not necessarily the miner's fault. So, I don't want to.
My thing is more all the talk.
Sure.
The people behind these, the main ones saying it's big block Bitcoin are the same ones that are mining tiny blocks.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right, and I think I think is a valid criticism. Like I've always been one to play my cards close to the chest. Maybe that's a Chicago thing. If I start writing checks that my ass can't cash, I'll end up in the Chicago River real quick. So. On the flip side, Jackson just made the point here that more sales, right? So you gotta treat this a little bit. Think about how many people we got using the chain. I wonder how many it even actually is. What do we got? 10,000 individual people generating a transaction, and over the course of a month, maybe
something like that.
Something like that. I think it's probably a reasonable estimate right there. So how do we get to the other 7-point-something billion people on Earth? And the answer to that is business development. And nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that you got a cold call for people to use your BSV app. But unfortunately, that's how the bread gets baked, guys. Like you might have to, let's just say, for example, I don't want to call anybody out by name. No, I'm gonna call it hand cash. All right. So let's assume I'm Alex, who I think is a cool guy. I love the hand cash interface and everything else there. But I think what needs to be done, if I was in his position as the CEO, maybe hire a good salesman. Like that could be that's definitely an option, right? Hire a guy who can call all kinds of tech startups and anybody that needs an identity solution, right? And also needs to generate transactions and be selling Hand Cash Connect to all of these people who don't understand Bitcoin at all, like kind of know that it's vaguely some kind of internet money, and they have something that they need to move from one side of the blockchain to the other side of the blockchain, or just any kind of data. What I would be doing if I was in his shoes is I would be looking for a business development specialist, which is to say a good salesman, right? To start making those connections, start making those handshakes, and start getting new people, new businesses, people that are completely like, they don't know who Craig is, they've never listened to Peter McCormick's podcast, like none of that shit, and saying, hey, here's my tool. Here's what my tool can do for your business. Let's sign an agreement, exclusivity for XYZ amount of time. You pay me this fee, we'll generate your transactions. Everybody across your whole network can use Hand Cash for absolutely friggin' everything. Then all of a sudden, let's say you nailed 3 Fortune 500 companies with exclusivity agreements. We're going from 10,000 people using BSV to maybe 1 million, maybe 2 million people, just because Hand Cash were the people that knocked on the door first to say, hey, we want to be the ones to explain Bitcoin to you. We got this tool. Here it is.
They need a functional fiat on and off ramp before that would be like even possible, though.
True. That's certainly a sticking point. We need better.
Like if you're reaching outside of just crypto and Bitcoin companies, then that's what they're going to want, because they want ways for their users to be able to get in through their platform, sure, use it to send to and from whoever else is also using that standard or protocol, and then be able to get out of it. Is one of the big issues that I saw when dealing with companies that had different types of identity domain resolution type solutions.
Sure.
And then within crypto, the problem is that most of the areas with a lot of customers where you'd want to be in want something that works for more than just one type of asset. So they want a resolution system that they can use across, the 10 different or 50 different that they support, rather than have to go through, having ENS and then having, a paymail solution and then having something else.
Well, so I think to that, I would say that there's probably some some room for like I work in security, for example, like cybersecurity. Yeah. So for us, like, you know, you get like the Kali Linux groups or the like Red Hat is another good example of like companies that are kind of like, hey, we don't actually sell you anything except our expertise. Like we're distributors of, you know, all of these SKUs in the background. Like maybe you need a Cisco solution, maybe you need Microsoft, maybe you need, you know, whatever. I think there could be a big opportunity there, creating a company that basically just connects needs with tools, basically. But I think you're right about the on-ramp situation, because, you know, if people can't get their money in and out, then yeah, it's kind of a moot point for people that don't want to be holding Bitcoin. But I think there are ways around that too. If you were motivated, like if you're sitting on a stash of BSV, like you can just accept fiat from whoever. Like somebody gives me $50,000 and wants to be able to generate $50,000 worth of BSV, you know, transactions, then whatever. Yeah. Like there's a way to figure that out and make that profitable and do that anyways. So in fact, we're looking at it right now. Like damn.
Yeah, I've had a
Chinese Tinder.
He was like a stable coin whale, you know, between with one of them, and I guess the one that this was had, like, after he cashed out, it banned his address from there. So he went to start using one of the other more prominent ones, and he had approached us about providing private liquidity or, you know, a much smaller spread and fee rate than you could get on traditional exchanges or providers, just for like exclusivity. Like I can handle this amount per day, you know, and it was a pretty solid amount, but it just seemed kind of sketchy.
Sure. Well, it's always the trust factor. And anytime a new idea comes out, you have to wonder how hard you're getting exit scammed, because crypto.
He has a pretty good reputation out west, but just the whole idea of dealing with scammy stable tokens.
Sure.
And then, you know, you have someone that is dealing with enough volume and has some type of conflict with one of the larger organizations that had one, so then moved on to another large organization, like being, you know, it was just kind of some strange precursor events to be like, yeah, this is a good idea. Sure.
Got some comments and questions from the troll box here. Chief Naples, who won he predicted the BTC price at Halvening, won $5. He says, Kurt, you don't sound too confident in gigabyte blocks. I have no data. I don't know. I don't know what's possible. I think the biggest block we've done is like 500 megabytes. So, you know, show me something. But, or, you know, I don't know. Somebody upload something. Like, let's build one. We don't know. So we're in uncharted water. So I don't know if it's a million miles across the ocean or if it'll only take me 2 days. So let's figure it out. Dookie Love asking, what's the best or favorite BSV project right now? We should probably go down the line. What do we got, guys? Josh or Coin Alchemist?
I think it's Twitch. I mean, by far, it's got the most human users. And
yeah, I'd agree. It's certainly my favorite.
So, I mean, I think, and there's lots of stuff that's being built with it.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's at right now.
Yep. No, I agree. How about you, Coin Alchemist?
I mainly just use like Twitch and like BitSV at the moment in regards to like BSV projects. Like I've been a big Relay fan pretty much since they came out. So, you know, I'm a fan of Relay. Matterpool guys, if anyone hasn't checked out their APIs, they have some pretty interesting and fun things to play with there. So I guess I don't want to say, I don't want to include the two together, Twitch and Matterpool, so I figure I'll say them separately. But yeah, I would say BSV specific, like those are the ones that I kind of like the most right now.
Sure. I think, I personally use Twitch. I'm definitely generating transactions on Twitch the most. I do use, I like Tonic Pow a lot too. I think even conceptually, like I think it could end up being huge. It's again, like another aspect of the marketing space. And as someone with kind of a big following on social media, and I run some groups on Facebook and stuff too, like I reuse Tonic Pow links all the time. I'm making pennies like mad. So
I think that's the only way to earn BSV without having any of it at first.
Could be. Yeah, I could see that. I think that makes sense. Yeah, because you'd have to have. I mean, if you count the little bonus you can get for Twitch referrals, but that's also powered by Tonic Pow, so that might be a trick question there too. So yeah, I think you're probably right. I think it is the only way to just earn without doing anything. Like you just pedal the bike and earn Bitcoin, basically. Like that's yeah. I think that's true.
There's a lot of cool things that are being built right now that will be out soon that I'm really excited for, but I can't put those on the list because they don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
they exist, but within a local environment. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
No one's really trying them out. But yeah, there's a couple kind of unknown like developers who work in silence, and I've seen some of the projects that they have coming out that are, I think, going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, actually, to that, it's funny. I've mentioned this once or twice before, but about 2 years ago, I did a preliminary like handshake interview with Mr. Scatman. Like when the first time he ever mentioned Ann on Twitter, we were all still Bitcoin Cash people, and I was like, yep. A neural network on chain, huh? Like reached out to him, was like, hey man, I'd love to interview you about this concept. And he's like, oh, let's hop on a call. I'll explain it to you, and we'll bang out some questions. Because I wasn't even sure what questions to ask. Like AI is so far out of my pay grade. So, and I ended up talking to him for like 2 hours, and he explained everything Ann can do, and I was like, man, that is aggressive. And he was like, yeah, it's going to take some time too, but we're going to get there. And then he kind of disappeared for a while. Like I didn't hear from him on Twitter for probably a year. I actually forgot he existed because he used to do some really good memes and stuff too. And then all of a sudden, actually, I think he lost his original Twitter account, and then he came back with a new account, and all of a sudden Ann's pushing transactions to the chain every day for like a month-ish. So yeah. I'm excited to see how big that is and how deployable that is. But
Dean's got some cool things cooking too. So I mean, like, sure. I haven't been ping Node for fun, but like I don't utilize the service for like a company or testing any of my own websites. But I mean, that in itself is a really, really cool project that if people who are listening don't know about should look at BitPing. But Dean's working on a lot of cool things that I think will surface soon. That if we had this, you know, in the short time near future, I think there would be other things added to my list.
Sure. Yeah, Dean's always got good stuff. I mean, I just started randomly talking to him yesterday, and he's telling me how he like discovered water on Mars and consults NASA on how to track where the water is. And I'm like, man, I don't even know how to look and see if that's true. Like, but he's so confident. Like the way he talks about everything, I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, how do you teleport, Dean? Figure it out. Build me an app. So he's fun though. Let's check the box here. Rhythmic Eye says, my welfare check is Gov grant money. Build that on BSV. Comments about Twitch. Ann looks interesting. Just started. Oh, Matt Zitsky or Zitsky. Everybody gets his name wrong because nobody speaks German. Says, guys, can we convince you to do this show together on a regular basis? We need this brutal honesty more regularly. Yeah, well, maybe pay us. What are you offering? Put some transactions on chain. Just playing, but seriously, pay us.
Flash, pay me.
yeah, pay me on Twitch. I'm 292. Josh, what are you? You're 145. I remember because I posted it earlier. Coin Alchemist, you're a top 10 number, right?
Yeah.
U9.
Freaking guy.
Disclaimer: we are not paying these starving artists, so please, yes, go tip them.
Yeah, come on, guys. I will work for like 20, 30 bucks an hour. Just keep it coming. We got 50 people viewing. Thank you all for being here. 100% on the Red Hat type business. Chief Naples saying BSV instead of PayPal. Tommy says Ann looks interesting. Ann will replace everything, I think, says Chief Naples. Every time I talk to Mr. Scatman, and it's few and far between, and it's pretty brief when I do, he always says that. He's like, no, guys, everything will be Ann. Like, that's fine, man. Show me. I like it, but let's less talk, more sales.
User interface. People want to.
Well, right, and, an Explorer or something like what is Ann? How do I use her? So, let's see. Worth considering. While Twitch is currently where a lot is being built, is that where the opportunities are? I think there may be more opportunities elsewhere, but you got to be more creative by focusing elsewhere. I think Twitch is building so much like network effect right now that like. It's like logging in with Facebook. Like even if you don't use Facebook a lot, like you still use it to log into a bunch of other stuff that you kind of use. Now you have to redo everything.
Twitch has so many people that are interested in collaborating with and building things for Bitcoin that even if Twitch probably isn't the place where opportunity for you to do something on like with Twitch is, but there's a lot of opportunity for you to meet people that you can then go and do and build other projects with. I see a lot of networking happening on Twitch between different people and projects being built from just interactions that have happened on Twitch. So it's a really good, you can say base layer for building a network if you're new to Bitcoin and you don't really know a lot of people.
For sure. Well, that's what they call it. Like, on the homepage since day one, it's been the interface to Bitcoin, I think, right? Is that their catchphrase? And that's the perfect way to say it. What's that?
So look it in the box, you know what I mean? Like,
well, right.
I don't think any of you guys have had anyone tell you no. I mean, I could be wrong, but anyone that you wanted to talk to and you wanted to meet, you can just message on Twitch, and they normally respond to you, and you have them on shortly after.
Right.
To be honest, man, we really don't have to ask that many people at all. I mean, we have a lot of people contacting us and say, "What's up? Let me get in." So I mean, getting people in here has really not been difficult, truly.
See, and that's fascinating because that's actually that's a second order effect right there too. Like Twitch has spawned spin-off culture in the form of a YouTube like channel and podcast about Twitch culture. It's like that's like in like creating life, and then instantly the thing you create, like within a year the life you created creates life again on its own. Like imagine being God, creating something, and that thing creates an AI within 12 months. Like that's literally what's happening there. And I think that kind of thing can't really be quantified. Like that's emergent culture.
The other thing is, like, if you just want to be transparent, like with what you're doing, all right, like it's a way to, put it on chain and have it there, have a way for everyone that you want to see it, see it.
For sure.
Yeah, a lot of the things that I'm interested in or want done, like I'll just post a question on Twitch, or if someone is, helping me out with something, like, Josh hopped on a call with me the other day, so like I just sent him some money for hopping on the call, and Harry's done it. Really, anyone who's gonna like take time out of their day to do something with me, even though they're not looking for that, it's just sending them something for their time. And then if it's like something that's really useful, then you can pay them further. You can work out arrangements from there. But it's a nice intro, a nice way to signal to people that you're not only looking for work to be done, but that you value the people that are helping you do that.
For sure. Well, and it's the hive mind, man. I remember people talking about Bitcoin years and years ago, like all of this, like, no, Bitcoin is the social network, and here's this mandala network, small world network, and blah, 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 you know, and then there's nobody to connect with anywhere. How the hell do I make contact with any of these other people that are allegedly using Bitcoin to do anything? And then since Twitch existed, yeah, and it's funny because there's been other, you know, like I was on Steemit 4 or 5 years ago, and I tried Memo.cash when it was new, and just all of them just like, this sucks. But like Twitch, I find myself literally like, if I'm, you know, waiting for water to boil or making dinner, like sitting on my phone, like, let's see what's going on Twitch, I guess, you know, like it's become the default where I go check the world and check the things that I care about. So now there is this interface to Bitcoin, which is a network of stuff I care about. And that's limitless right there. If you can create culture and passion, I mean, just let that go. Like we're still, I mean, even now, just Western culture is like, we're still rolling down the hill, and the thing that pushed the rock down that hill was like Greek culture several thousand years ago, you know, like we're still kind of carrying that water because we cared. It was this human experience about like, hey, maybe we have rights and values and all these different like property and democracy and all these different things. Like, oh, okay, let's give that a shot. And we're still doing all of that. And I think we could see the exact same kind of thing with Bitcoin, but you need an interface to it. And for Twitch, I mean, that's the network effect they're creating. So it's great. It's a big, exciting opportunity. People asking why does it take so long to get into Tonic Pow? Send them a direct message. They're on Twitch. They're on Twitter. It's just a few guys, like 3 guys. Guys, you know, too, actually. So you can hit up Satchmo, Mr. Z, and I think Attila is part of the Tonic group. Not anymore. Is he specifically exited?
Yeah.
I know Attila's got, you know, like a dozen projects on his plate. So, but Mr. Z and Satchmo are great. They're both working on all kinds of other tools and stuff too. Like they're banging out interesting APIs and other things. They're good guys. So reach out to the Tonic Pow guys. They'd be happy to approve you, turn you into a marketer, whatever, set your account up. But I'm literally I use Tonic Pow like every day. And, you know, some days I'm earning 20 pennies and other days I'm earning like literally $1 with people just clicking my links. So it's good stuff. Let's see. Oh, the troll box just like reloaded on me. BTC mempool getting constipated. Somebody check it.
It's still just 30K.
Can we get we need a mempool report. Where is Mike in space?
Yeah. He's funny. We should get him. I've actually never talked to him one-on-one. Daniel asking, do you have that link to that Antalk? No, it was private. We didn't even record it. It was like our pregame conversation, so it wasn't even like I was probably wearing pajama pants. Not that I'm not now, but let's see. Does Ann have a Telegram group? No, I actually have no idea how to get, like, Mr. Scatman and Dale Dickens, who is Mad in Melbourne or whatever her username is, are like the 2 people that talk about Ann, and I think you have to go through them to get any info.
The top 2 Ann shills.
Right. They keep saying there's only 3 people that even are using Ann in the world. So yeah, top 2 is most of their community. It's some interesting stuff going on over there. Let's see. Astronomy Dork saying cold calling sucks, but I'd do it. You should honestly start reaching out to some of these, like pick your favorite 3 Bitcoin projects and offer to be their head of sales. That's what we all need.
That implies that they actually charge for what they're doing.
Well, right. What's the commission structure?
That's a whole nother controversial thing for some reason.
Yep. Yeah, earning money in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we can head that direction. Who should be earning money on chain with their apps?
Everybody.
And how does that work? If I start Kurt Wallet, how do I start charging people to use Kurt Wallet?
Well, how did they move money out of your wallet?
There we go. I think that's actually I think that's really important. Like, what is your profitability model long term? Is it about the exit? I think a lot of these guys, for better or worse, like, people talk about venture capital a lot in Bitcoin now. We've seen some debates and stuff between Aaron and Jackson in Lisbon, like talking about that kind of stuff. But it's been ongoing, like VC cuckery versus hard capitalism, right? So if your app can generate volume, then it should be able to take. I mean, it's micropayments, right? You could take a half a penny or a tenth of a penny even on every transaction. Nobody would even ever see it unless they knew how to check. And that could be a revenue stream. It could be a revenue stream for the salesman too. Like, that can be your pitch. You go sell, a solution to whatever, General Motors or something, and your commission is a fifth of a penny on every transaction.
Right.
I mean, there's your sales opportunity, right? You're working into the contract and you're getting on-chain payments every day to your money button or whatever the hell.
Right.
So, and that's just one thing. That's just a wallet commission structure. And I know, I actually don't know. Like, why do you think the wallet people aren't charging right now? Like, why?
Like,
no idea.
I don't understand. It's just like, yeah.
Because it isn't the norm, right? So like, people build wallets and then and I don't know how wallets that don't have an exchange built in make money whatsoever outside of donations or having some type of funding to just waste money, to have that as a wallet. Hold on. Like every 5 seconds, it's like he's playing Minecraft and he's 4, so he has no idea what half of the things he's doing is. Dad, is this what I do? Is this what?
It's awesome.
Press A. Yep. Again.
So, on wallets, I guess you got to look at the culture of wallets, right? Like, if you were to go back 5 years, your typical wallet was just built open source by some anon who threw it out on GitHub and was asking the community, like, hey, I don't know, audit this, clean up my code, whatever. Like, we're just trying to bootstrap anything. So here, try my wallet, but it's the community's wallet, right? And I think that's the real problem. But if we're going to treat these companies like they're businesses, like RelayX, for example, if RelayX is a business that needs to make money, then they got to have various revenue streams that are connected to that. So how are they doing that? Yeah. Frankly, I don't know. Does RelayX charge a fee? I know Jack is.
Well, the thing is, they're much like the other, like the wallets I was describing. They have ways of making revenue within the wallet by offering a swap.
Yeah.
And now they've reserved the custom additional pay mails for you to the trade mails, I should say. That's what they're called, trade mails.
Bitcoin pay mail.
But those eventually will probably cost something. So there's ways to generate revenue from services within the wallet that are within their ecosystem because they're providing their own liquidity and they're able to handle it themselves and not have to outsource. But the other one's not so much. It's working off of an affiliate, type of system, but with larger institutions.
Sure.
They are doing that where you can reserve the name with cost $2.18.
That's how you do it. It's funny. I've been an Exodus user for a long time. I always liked the Exodus interface because I was like, hey, these guys are building something that somebody might want to use. Of course, they're small blockers by and large, so it doesn't even make sense to have an attractive wallet for spending if you're just going to be a BTC guy. But they also have Ethereum, and there's like 100 assets you can trade in there. But they've got their built-in exchange, which used to be based on Shapeshift.
It was Shapeshift solely.
Yeah.
And then as Shapeshift was discussing their move to an account-based system with KYC, they did not want to have to do that. So they made a more robust exchange system, we'll just say, and incorporated many exchanges. So now it's now there's like 5 or 6 different exchanges that they work with to do it.
Nice.
The problem is the cut. They have the most expensive wallet on the market.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. Like
That's a pretty big spread.
Rather than just charging the users for the wallet, like a yearly subscription fee or something like that, which people would pay. It's not people aren't going to want to move their money out of something that they really enjoy using because of the UI, the UX.
Right.
But rather than doing that, there's their own custom fee that's associated to the exchange, and probably really any other service that will end up going in there, because now they're trying to make it more like an app store. They have like some DeFi stuff in there, and they're going to continue kind of building that out.
I actually just noticed. It might have been with the last update, but it's definitely been in the last month or two that you can buy BTC directly in the wallet too, and it doesn't exactly clarify how that's happening. But and I haven't bought any either. But it seems like a good little way to generate some more money and to simplify that process too. So.
Yeah, I don't know if they ended up using Wire, but I know originally that was the thing. I think there's a small, because it's KYC-less, well, it's kind of like pseudo KYC-less because you have to use like Apple Pay or Google Pay or something like that. Oh, yeah,
it was via Apple Pay. That's what was unique. I forgot.
So because you're technically like KYC'd because you've submitted your credit card and it's been approved to be used on your device. You have a smaller limit. It's like $250 or $300 a day or something like that.
Yeah. No, it's cool though. It's a good system. I don't know where else I could buy any Bitcoin anything with Apple Pay. So that's pretty cool. Matt Zitsky,
relay on that buy widget. Let me get the Apple Pay option.
Oh, okay, cool.
No, I don't know if they do. I'm just saying they need to.
Yeah, they should. I don't know how easy or difficult that would be, but seems like it's pretty straightforward. If a little coffee shop can accept Apple Pay, then why not anybody else?
It's a pain in the ass when it comes to like having an institution want to white label you a solution to accept or allow fiat on off ramping.
Sure.
Well, mainly off ramping is the bigger problem. On ramping, they're kind of lenient with, and will do like up to a certain amount per year, per month, or just per session. But offing, like bringing your money off, is where it gets messy and there's a lot of red tape if you're trying to avoid the full kind of KYC experience.
Yeah, it'd be hard. Well, especially now, like local Bitcoins and stuff, I think switched to KYC model not too long ago too, and that was the typical place to off ramp.
Yep.
So we got some more troll box here. Matt Zitsky said F2 pool just mined a block on BSV, which is interesting. Oh, welcome to the show. I don't know if they have before or not. I don't remember. Dookie Love says the switching. I've seen a few names mining earlier than I thought. New to me. Anyone using Maxthon browser? I don't think it's even in beta yet. I think there's still just like internal testing, if I recall. Stein Ludvigsen says there's 3 devs. Someone's mic on in the background. Swan Dive says, Kurt Wallet, sign me up. You don't want Kurt Wallet. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see, 53 in the box. Yeah, we got 51 people watching right now. I think we're pulling in some good numbers over here.
Sweet.
Astronomy Dork saying, "Where is Urban Arson?" Man, he's burning down the city. What do you think his name is? Let's see, who's the third person speaking? That's Coin Alchemist. He's the voice of Ohio.
That's just the whole world.
Right, yeah, right. Ohio, which is everything now.
It's a hard truth pill to swallow.
Tommy Sparks asking, any news on Kaching? I think Kaching is out of business. So they were raising money. Last I heard that was Dunzo, unfortunately. And it was actually I like the idea for like the way that you've
done before.
Well, what I like is it essentially works like a two-factor authentication, so it's not a bad idea for even just simple storage, but I don't think that's happening anymore. Let's see. Chief Naples saying, I'm sorry, I meant nearly 7K sats BitPing has paid me. Yeah, BitPing, it was mentioned earlier, BitPing is the other way to, if you can run a simple node, if that's not a technical limitation for you. I run a couple of BitPing nodes myself, so it's a good way to earn a little bit. And Matt Ziski saying F2 pool has mined on BSV before, but it's been a while though. Yeah, I couldn't remember. It seemed to ring a bell, but like I said, as I'm criticizing all of the miners for not monitoring, I just get to talk out my ass and criticize everybody. So sorry.
All those BTC ones is NPC pools anyways.
No, it's true.
F2
No, they are.
Pool, Ant pool, what's the other one? Slush pool. I mean, they're all
Slush.
pools, right?
Yeah. It's a bunch of guys that got like, a little garage with maybe a dozen ASICs in it.
Yeah.
They're bringing in power from around the world. A bunch of people that don't understand what they're doing either. What a world. So, hi, dear. My wife's wearing an apron. That's a good sign for dinner time in about half an hour.
Heyo.
An hour? Oh, man. So, let's see here. Any more questions? Matt says, it's easy to be a critic. That is what they pay me for. So. Here's a good question for Josh. What's new for Retro Twitch, or what's next for Retro Twitch? What's coming?
I need to clean it up so it doesn't fuck up on mobile. I've got some ideas about it with Boost Pal stuff.
Nice. That's cool. Here's the hot question. Are you making any money with Retro Twitch?
Of course.
He's been telling you he is. Every update is like, I'm taking this many Satoshis when you do this as a convenience fee.
All right.
Likes are this much.
People got to know, man. Some people they don't want to deal with any of these vicious capitalists on
Yeah, man.
If you're making money from your own project, I don't want to use it.
It's just one HTML, so you could just look at the code and see where all the money's going.
There you go. Oh, that's awesome. It's a fun interface too. I showed my wife and she was like, why is this cool? I was like, just trust me, okay? Get out of here.
You wouldn't understand.
No, she's funny. Every time I'm like, I'll play games. Everyone, like, I'm not really a gamer, but the last couple weeks since these lockdowns have been going on, like, I meet up with some of the guys I work with on a daily basis. They're like, hey, let's get together and play tabletop, whatever, on Steam. So we'll play like Cards Against Humanity or whatever. And she's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, oh, it's work. This is my manager. So it's like, okay, asshole.
Yeah, all my like family has started playing, like my extended family has all started playing Warzone on Call of Duty. So like
Nice.
my older son and then my brother-in-law, my sister-in-laws, like their kids, anytime that I my younger son will log onto one of our PlayStations and I'll see that my account's online. It's my older one, like playing with half of our extended family, and it could be any time of the day. Like they're always on.
That's awesome. That's fun. I remember. I remember when we got I got an Xbox real early. Like I got the Xbox as soon as humanly possible, and I remember the insert pamphlet where they were explaining what Xbox Live was gonna be. But it didn't exist yet. Like they were just like, we're gonna put this network together, and you can connect with your friends. And
they just didn't know how to use it. Dreamcast was the first system to have like a multiplayer with like other people around the world that wasn't local, but nobody used it because like nobody had internet at the time.
Or that's what I was gonna say. Dreamcast. That's got to be 2000, maybe a little before.
It was actually part of that IRC channel that was like the official Dreamcast users. I didn't even have a Dreamcast, but it was on the server that I went to all the time, and I just liked those guys. So I became like really in with all that crowd,
That's funny. Yeah, that's
Dreamcast was such a good system that just was like before its time.
Right. Yeah, wasn't it the first? It was the first to use CDs too, wasn't it?
No, because there was like Sega CD before then, and then there was another one that the PlayStation 1 was out, I think, before Dreamcast was.
Okay, maybe. Gosh, I didn't remember.
Sega CD for sure.
Too long now. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I do remember Sega CD now. That's funny.
It was just like this weird extension thing that you like put on the side of your Sega and plugged into it.
Sure. No, that's wild. But I remember, anyways, getting back to the Xbox. Like I remember reading the pamphlet about Xbox Live, and that was my first exposure to even the concept. Except, have you guys seen The Cable Guy, the Jim Carrey movie from like 20 years ago now? So he's doing that speech.
Cable Guy.
You can play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam.
Cable Gula. God, I love that movie.
Oh, that movie is so good. Like, because it's so dark. Like, it's also kind of a horror movie.
Oh, no, it's terrifying. Yeah.
But, like, I just remember thinking, like, playing Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam. Like, I didn't even think I understood what the internet was when that movie came out. So I'm like, how is that possible? Now look at us with streaming streaming over Discord and streaming it to YouTube and watching 100% unrecognized transactions fill the BSV mempool. Let's see. We'll hit the troll box again. 54 watching now. But my thing says 47. I keep missing the peaks here, just like with trading. Rhythmic Eye saying, guys, I got to drag myself away. Have a good night, man. Astronomy Dork, do you think Twitch will break out a firewall feature so we can profit and hide our old content? I think that'd be a good idea. I don't see why not. Like pay to hide, pay to like maybe encrypt an old hash and make it that it doesn't exist in the UI or something like that. I think that'd be a cool idea. There's a couple ways to go about it.
They don't even have to like go that deep, right? Like they could just make a feature that hides it on the Twitch server that's showing.
Sure.
That's on the interface. But that way, that transaction is still there, and it'll always be there in its original state. But
right.
you don't need to like do anything crazy to the original message.
Sure. So let's see. When Twitch Messenger soon? Hey, that's one that keeps coming up. If you talk to the Twitch guys, it sounds like it's top of mind. So I have a feeling they're doing something cool in the background.
There's this really cool beta called mm.twitch.com. No, but if you want like a chat feature for the moment with the Twitch guys and the people on Twitch, you just join the Mattermost server.
Or Twitter.
Yeah. My first time on, you guys told me that was a word I shouldn't use, so.
No, we're over that now. Honestly, it's been such a massive topic and in the box, this whole chat feature, and we've had so many people putting input in on that. We had Dagan talking about it the other day, and it's a massive issue. I mean, not that it's a problem really, but it's just it's a hard hard thing to figure out, I think, because they want to keep it on chain, but
Right.
but how do you do that with? I mean, and my argument is I don't think I'll ever pay for chat, and I know that sounds ridiculous, and I think a lot of people would pay for encrypted chat, but I don't think I'm one of those people. I don't know.
I think it depends. I mean, with such a small, there's a few ways to go about it, but with such a small, I mean, it's text, right? So you create some kind of a limit or something and make it that it's like a micro sub-cent fee. So whatever.
And Degan brought up a good idea too. Like, what if you had like a server for chat, and it would just function as a regular chat server, and then you had hit a button that would upload the whole conversation, in one transaction instead of paying for every message that you send. And
Sure. Yeah. Well, that kind of seems a little unnecessary then.
Right.
You're doing the like, we do this on chain, except it's really an Amazon Web Service.
That's it.
Again.
Exactly. So that's the whole argument there.
I feel like just off the top of my head, I feel like there's a couple of ways to like open a payment channel, and then you could communicate in that channel. Maybe.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
I'm not the guy to implement it, but it sounds like there must be some kind of way to do something like that.
Got to be something.
I for one would pay for it, and more so because you look at the reason like why you use Twitter. Most of us still use Twitter because the majority of people that we're communicating with are on Twitter. But other than that, like we probably prefer another platform such as Twitch. Okay, we'll use that as the example.
Absolutely.
So if they had a feature that allowed you to not have to leave their platform to go to another platform to talk to the same people that you talked to on the original platform, then if it's not extremely costly, then I don't see like why anyone wouldn't pay for it. Mm-hmm. You're eliminating friction from your workflow that you have.
Right. Yeah, like I wouldn't pay $1 a message, but I would certainly pay something. So
yeah. Like if I could just pay for the feature and then I'm paying like my fees are kind of like along the lines of what you were talking about. Like if it's you pay for X amount of messages and they're all transactions are on chain, so it's a small amount, like maybe $1 is like 100 messages or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's another way that I see it working, but I think there's a lot of ways. It all just comes down to like how it's priced out for the majority of people. But I think the biggest thing is that it will eliminate anytime that you can eliminate friction from a platform. And if you're trying to retain your customers and keep them active on your platform, the best thing to do is to eliminate that friction point that they have. And that's that, well, I like using your platform, but the conversation's happening in our chat groups over on this platform, which then leads you to just staying, in this case, Twitter, staying on Twitter and just posting there because all the chat's happening that you're engaging with in private settings on there.
Yeah.
Dagan says in our chat, you would not have to store it in a database. You could send them peer-to-peer, then commit to chain for posterity if necessary.
Oh,
friend to friend, Dagan.
Yeah.
Friend to friend.
That doesn't even work. Nobody's doing that shit.
Exactly.
Right.
I know that I heard someone talking the other day. I don't know if it was on a podcast or what it was on, but the guy from ECAT who made Sentiment.pro, he was talking about how they were going to implement like a chat feature or chat box and the method they were going to do to have everything still be on chain with that, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, I'm always excited to see new things come out and see how they work.
Sure. Yeah, man, get out there and compete. If Twitch chat doesn't get their shit together, somebody's going to do it first, right?
Dead and dead.
I don't even think that's a bad thing necessarily. Like first to market.
Oh yeah, I don't mean it as a criticism.
No, I know. I just like a lot of people think that you have to be first to market with something, but you just have to be best to market with that product. Like you could come out 3 months after your quote unquote competitors there, but if your product is that much better, and Exodus is a very good example of this. Like they're not ones to do anything first. You'll notice that like the BSV swap Edge wallet was the first, wallet to really support that. That was a multi-asset wallet. And then Exodus came on. And with any of the like swaps that happen, they usually wait. With the BCH fork, they wait a little bit. But then they make an experience that's so much better than the other ones that are out there that people then will send their money there to use that. And now they've trapped them into their ecosystem of becoming a user of theirs.
Sure. Makes sense to me. Got a question, Josh. We need more of your tutorials. What are you working on one right now? What do you got in the pipeline?
Not now, but I got ideas for the next one.
Sure. Always. And then I've noticed they've been going on Twitch's channel. Are you transitioning to doing more for Twitch, or are you going to keep doing them on your own channel, or are you going to do both?
It's because I did 3-part series for them.
For the SDK?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. But you're going to continue to do Josh Henslee videos about whatever the hell you want?
Pretty much.
Sounds good to me.
Well, Coin Alchemist was talking about how you can see what people are paying for on Twitch. So you can see that they paid me for the tutorials, right? So
for sure,
it's transparent, so you can see what people find valuable, right? So if someone's asking me why I don't do a tutorial of X, well, check the chain, right?
Right. Yeah. Shoot. Get her done. Yeah. Who wants to learn something? Pay Josh. I like it. We got Matt saying Twitch chat could or should be a subscription to make it available. Pay for the next X period. The next payment can be a time-locked UTXO. To cancel the subscription, spend the time-locked UTXO to a different address. There you go. Swan Dive says they could do a voucher system.
They can do whatever the fuck they want to do.
All right. Ye Buds saying, what does Josh think of the halvening that just occurred and predictions for the future? So BTC, BSV, I guess we can throw BCH in there too. What does the halvening do? Where are we going, Josh?
I think the next few weeks, months, price is just going to keep going down and down and down.
Who is paying attention to the price?
Well, miners are, right? So
I know.
I think a lot of these, like the BTC miners, is going to have to sell out. Like they're going to have to sell their coins, they're going to have to sell their miners, and someone's going to be there to purchase them because, for what's inevitable in my view, which is once a lot of people start using SV, then, we're going to need more capitalist miners to provide services that people want.
Yep. What do you think? Is there a version of the world where BTC wins? Like, do you think there's any possibility?
Of course, there's infinite possibilities, Kurt.
Yeah, well, let's hear them. That's what people are tuning in for.
Well, I don't think so.
No.
It's on the timeline we're living on.
I think there's either 1 or 0.
All right. I mean, I would tend to agree, but I like it.
Like
I don't see a world that exists where there's multiple versions of Bitcoin long term. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But do you think there's any possibility that the one that wins could be BTC? Could BTC swallow everybody?
If they hard forked and did everything that SV did.
Right. But that would just create more splits.
But they would hard fork like 5 times if they were fork.
Yep. Yeah, there'd be Luke Jr. running one node with 300 kilobyte blocks because it's the real Bitcoin.
If there was consensus or even like semi-majority consensus for a hard fork to happen, that whole community I think would fracture into like different factions, and it would fork into a few different versions because nobody would like want to give up the version that they want, and they would take the opportunity to move with the people who are in support of whatever it is that they want to do.
Yeah.
And it may just be being stubborn, like that they don't want to, like they're going to fight for that ticker because they want that dollar value that's associated to the ticker right now. And that's really all they care about.
Sure. No, I think that's what's fascinating about it. Like their whole culture. Like when you read any of the tweets of any of the influential BTC people, or even like I run a pretty big Facebook group. It's got like 55,000 people in it. We do discussions, and like you ask anybody like, hey, what's the coolest thing about, you know, any blockchain that you've ever done? And like all of them are like, well, like it's just price. Like nobody has any.
I was literally just going to say that their best meme is price.
Yeah.
Because like that's all anyone cares about is how high the price is, how high the price is going to go. There is no other discussion going on outside of the little niche communities that are working on their different forms of side chains or layer 2 solutions. Like any normal person, any normal person who is not deep into it, and even a lot of the people that are looked to as people that are heavily involved but aren't deep into the building and technical aspects of it, they just care about the price going up because it's their ad, it's their way to market that Bitcoin's price is there and that people should get involved because it's going to do this and that to the world currencies and blah 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 blah. It wants to be gold so bad it's not even funny, and it shows.
Yeah, getting that gold heart on. You know, it's funny. I always ask, like, because they always, like, inevitably you get the random small blockers who are like, well, I just want hard money to replace, you know, the central bank's fiat currency. And I'm like, yeah, same. How
What are you talking about, dude?
How do you do that? What does that look like? Like, I always just ask them, well, like, how do we get there? What are the steps?
No, man. Pat Rock going to 1 million.
Right. Exactly. You know, and you know, they don't know. They just, it's a meme, right? Like, you know, and I like the meme. Like that's some, you know, I watched 6 minutes of Andreas Antonopoulos in 2015, right? Like, yeah, we're going to replace the Fed, man. Hard money. We're going to audit everything, you know? I was like, cool. How? Like, what's, you know, and then the conversation stops. Like, oh, come on. This is terrible. Yeah. So let's see, more troll box. Let's see. Everybody's saying hi to Trisha One Love, who is owning the box right now. What's up? Daniel Krawitz is still on. He was on it like I was going to bed, and somebody was like, Daniel's coming on at like 1 a.m. or something. I don't think that man sleeps. Let's see, Gecko, why has there been like 30 blocks mined in the last hour? I haven't even been paying attention on BSV. Is that the case?
Yeah, and almost every minute.
Interesting. Well, because the hash power shot up. So
it's all the transaction processing going on.
Right.
Well, also the BTC folks, they need to go somewhere, right?
Right. Well, yeah. So when hash power shifts, like I think the hash power more than doubled. It was up at like 2% down or up from 0.8% of all.
Yeah.
What's it
shot to
right
56. Now? So if you double the hash power on the network, then blocks start to come faster until the difficulty adjustment, because Bitcoin is always targeting 10 minutes. Sometimes it's 3 blocks a minute for a while. Sometimes it's 40 minutes between blocks, but
it always averages out.
Yeah, in the long term, it's 10 minutes, but that's always an average. So that just kind of happens. That's just how Bitcoin works. Peter W. asking, or Peter VV, I guess. If it was Peter W, was it Peter Will who programmed Segwit is watching the Vibe stream? do the BTC devs have the ability to do something radical like change the subsidies model, thus increasing total supply? What consensus would they need? Well, they need complete consensus. So any node,
that would be one of the forks.
Right.
That would be one of them.
Yeah, that'll be Peter Todd's fork. So, but no, any node that does something different, it would just become its own network if let's say they mined 7 coins in a block, like that would instantly hard fork and become a split and a separate network. And then if it's coded to stay that way, it would remain separate. But like the guys were saying, and I think they're right. I think if BTC were to do anything that would cause a consensus break, there'd be like 3 to 5 forks that are all kind of Bitcoin or kind of BTC or whatever. for a while, and then they'd have their ticker war. It'd be pretty funny. Tommy Spark, Trollbox keeps bouncing around. Tommy says BSV is 2 years ahead, even if BTC wanted a hard fork. By then it's game over. That's true. We've gone through so many like steps to get where we are. It'd be ridiculous. So yeah, BTC is probably a slow, painful chain death. Chief Naples saying only real world problem solved that would be major and successful would be EHR data. I am curious to see how big that gets. I would be
Are they
excited
still
there.
staying around? Like, I hear so many, so much gossip and so many rumors, but I haven't seen anything like official stating they're putting things on chain at a certain date or they're testing X, Y, Z.
No, I haven't heard hard numbers either direction. I've heard from random sock accounts that like, wow, they're looking at IBM or something instead.
Yeah, exactly. And then like the next day you read something about like, them being in Antigua with Calvin.
Yeah, something tells me if you're eating at Calvin's dinner table, you're not having a serious conversation with IBM, but I don't know. If you check ehdata.com, their website, they have recently updated their website to explain why they are transitioning to Bitcoin SV. So that's an indicator on their official website, so that's something to pay attention to. But I have not seen like a press release come from the newswire or anything like that. So I think for now, I think it's a lot of people just bullshitting because welcome to the internet. So I also don't tend to think they're going to be like the be all end all. Like they're just another company pushing data. Like I would hope that in 2 years, EHR data is some kind of minority with their, billion transactions a month or whatever it's going to be. So like, it's good. I'll take it. I'd be very happy to have them and see their transactions getting mined by Lynn Zemming. But
seafood chain is coming for them.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Seafood chain's another one of those things. Like it's conceptually, it's great, but who's going to move it from halibut to anything else? So all of it's cool, but again, biz dev guys, like let's start signing business agreements that include 1 billion on-chain transactions a year because chain of custody matters. So when we get there, we can stop joking around. Daniel Krawitz says Andreas Antonopoulos is the biggest phony. He is incredibly boring and vapid.
You get paid $5 an hour to help out with that court case. That's crazy.
500 an hour?
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. No, that's what a waste of money.
I know, man.
Well, especially he gives off a creep vibe too. Like on top of everything, like he's just got that like are you flirting with me right now? Like why is that happening? So what else we got here? Daniel Krawitz says I do not sleep.
Was he tonguing a hammer talking to you?
Yeah, he won't stop sending me that damn picture. Krawitz is always working. Peter says, I've noticed it a lot with Kurt's Twitter posts. He keeps asking good questions until they eventually give up because they don't actually understand what they're saying. It's actually a trick. Here's the thing. I'm a classically trained debate. I used to do debate team for high school and college. I did debate team.
So you semantic, sorry.
You attack people with questions. Like I don't even I ask questions and just keep let the other guy talk. Like I talk a lot when I'm hosting, but when I debate people, as a rule, I just ask questions and let other people talk until I'm ready. Like until I've got all of their bullshit figured out, and then you knock them down with like 10% of the remaining time. Like, okay, here's all your logical fallacies, and pay me.
Minecraft house. So you Socratic method then?
Yes, exactly. Straight Socratic. Can't even speak. Socratic method. As I'm bragging about my ability to communicate, right? Let's see. Stein saying I predict new high score on Joho's mempool or Yoho. I don't know how to say it. Statistics for BTC within 2 weeks. Yeah, I think we start getting some backed up mempool. Astronomy Dork saying, Daniel, is your background theoretical physics? Yes, I have a master's degree in physics and software engineering. Do you want me to talk physics sometime? I'm better at teaching physics than most professors. This is true. I had coffee with Daniel. It's got to be 6 months ago or 9 months ago. I was in Texas. We had coffee, me and my wife, with Daniel, and he's started explaining black holes. And we were getting ready to go on a flight, so it was up pretty early. My wife was super tired. We get on the plane, and she's like, did we just spend an hour and a half talking about black holes with a Bitcoin guy for breakfast? It's like, yeah, you're a lucky lady. Let's see. A lot of physics talk in the troll box. Oh man, we're coming up on like 5 minutes left. We're gonna have to go. Matt says we need more of everything running on BSV, whether it's EHR, Seafood Chain, BitPing, Twetch, next big thing, next small thing. Absolutely. Matt's absolutely right. Degan says Seafood Chain is doing incredibly well, somewhat quietly, competently, and they will be huge. I agree. The guys over there are they're all very professional. Like the whole team there are like actual business people and actual software people. So I'm hopeful that they're doing the biz dev thing and getting it done, because they seem very competent. Daniel says, very good advice, Kurt. Everyone should learn the Socratic method. Black holes are important. I have an epic black hole question locked and loaded. Here we go. We're going physics talk full time.
Black holes matter.
There's a really good book written by he was an FBI negotiation guy, and it's called Never Split the Difference.
Okay.
And it's all about debating and properly using the Socratic method
Sure.
to get what you want out of different situations. I know someone that like studied this book, and he turned like he made him a sociopath. He like a complete sociopath. He felt like he had to take every like interaction he had and immediately like assess and find out how can I manipulate this into like going the way that I wanted exactly.
Sure. No, it's funny. Like it's a funny tool, because it's like it's basically like being really good at communicating. So it's like, hey, he's a fun guy to have at a party, but at the same time, it's exactly that. It's like it's also a common trait for like serial killers. So you gotta keep your stuff in check if you're really good at like social engineering. Looks like we got a 25 megabyte block about half an hour ago, again by unknown miner. I wonder who that is actually. Got SV pool mine in a block via BTC, unknown. There's a tall block. Looks like tall mined
I actually mined those with my iPhone. That's all me.
Nice. I love it. Big block Bitcoin, mined on a cell phone. Oh, there's the F2 pool block, 158 kilobytes. Thank you, F2 pool. It's ridiculous. What a world. So, anybody got final thoughts here? Shout outs? Anybody's mom watching? You want to give a late happy Mother's Day or anything like that?
Mom would never watch this. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's funny. Have you told your mom that you do a daily Bitcoin podcast now, and that you're going to need the inheritance a little early?
Yeah. Yeah, she has a little bit of an idea of what's going on. I don't know if she totally understands, but she is supportive, so got to give her that.
Nice. Good times.
I'm gonna give a shout out to I guess Mrs. Petty Squared.
There you go.
One of them, it's their first Mother's Day, so that was probably day to remember for Mr. Moist and fam.
Awesome.
For sure.
And any of the other, I guess, new dads that are part of the gang.
Yep. Yeah, I guess for me, like shout outs to Bright Gang. Anybody thinks Bright Gang are the bad guys, you're probably a Satanist. We're gonna find you out. We're gonna put you in prison.
I just saw your shirt for the first time too, and you leaned back a little bit. I was like, that's freaking sweet, man.
Yeah, it's the classic Craig Wright is Satoshi shirt.
Love that.
I think we got for free a while back. What's that, Josh?
Scammer.
Right. So it was funny. My wife's got me on video. I forgot I was wearing this T-shirt, and I was at a Bitcoin meetup talking about how I don't talk about Craig. And I'm wearing a Craig is Satoshi T-shirt while talking. She's like, "You're such an idiot."
I love it. Love it.
That's the point, though, right? Like, I'm not talking about it. It's just right there.
Right. It's just gracing my chest.
Perfect. Hey, thank you guys, man. This has been amazing.
For sure.
Appreciate you guys bringing in all these viewers too. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, no, I think we set the record there. This is good stuff.
Totally. Absolutely. This is our big spike for the whole 24 hours. So
I love it.
We definitely appreciate it.
We're mining the big blocks for you.
Yeah, man. Love that. Love that.
Shout out InTheBox gang, Bright gang, Star gang.
Yeah, man.
Gang.
Actually, did you say Yang Gang?
No, I did not. I just said gang gang.
Gang bang.
Gang bang. Gang bang, gang gang.
So yeah, no, for anybody tuning in who's not subscribed, subscribe to InTheBox because they need the subscribers to monetize. We're trying to get it rocking and rolling. Share it to your friends. Let them know your favorite segment was Kurt, Josh, and Coin Alchemist talking about communism and black holes and
love it.
How if you're not making money, you're eating Cheetos and waiting for the welfare check.
That's it, man.
So, Josh, closing words?
Oh, we need to build shit.
Word.
Damn straight. Build shit.
Frog ass vision, you know.
Yeah, man. Frog vision's coming if people don't get their shit together.
Yep.
Yeah, drop the S is just FV. Cleaner.
I like it.
Right, gang.
All right, gang. I gotta go help get dinner on the table.
Hot Cheetos tonight.
Yeah.
Eating good tonight, fam.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, thank you guys, man. It's been really fun.
See ya.
Take care.